real simple, called It's All Part of a Plan. All part of a plan. Anybody ever felt frustrated? Anybody know what frustration means? Frustration means when you really want things to work out your way, but it's not working out your way. And how many of you know that in frustration, you can take over and make things be the way you want them to be? We got a problem here.
Sounds like
What's the problem?
I think. Did it turn off?
No, it's not off. This one probably off too. I guess I just do it that way. This is 8. Are we still? Oh. That's off.
You're good. You're good.
Hallelujah, live TV. All right. Maybe we can get through this. Everybody okay?
Amen.
All right. Tell somebody next to you and say, don't be frustrated.
Don't be frustrated.
It ain't working out like you thought. But don't get involved in trying to change it. Okay? Don't get frustrated. We rebuke that spirit of frustration. Okay? Anyway, frustration is something that comes into our life from time to time that causes us to believe that things are not working out the way they should work out. But frustration is a personal feeling. Okay, you get frustrated because it's not working the way you want it to work, but that does not mean it's not working the way it's supposed to work. Okay, frustration comes from you trying to get your hand involved into what's going on, and when it doesn't turn out quite right, it makes you feel like, what's the use of even going on? Or the second thing happens is, rather than that, you get involved to make the change yourself. Have any ever been frustrated and then just tried to make it happen? Yeah, it's quiet. Y'all gonna have to help me preach today.
Right here, Pastor.
Y'all gotta help me. Don't make me come to you. Okay, I'll get some of you frustrated folks up here so you can testify. All right? Anybody ever been frustrated? And then you got involved in trying to make it work out, and what happened? You were more frustrated. And the more frustrated you become, the more disillusioned you become. Okay? All right. Touch somebody and say, it's all going to work out. God's in control. No matter what you think, it's all working out.
It's all working out.
To a plan. Might not look good, but it's all in a plan.
Amen.
Might not be yours, but it's all in a plan. All right, let's go. Genesis chapter 16, verse 1. We're going to drop into a story that we find Abram, who is going to become Abraham, is about 85 years old. 10 years ago, when he was about 75, God appeared to him and said to him, if you can look at the stars, look at the sand on the sea, and that is if you can't count that, but your inheritance will be more than those numbers. Okay? Now, how many of you know, how many have had a promise for 10 years? God told you something, it ain't happened yet. Okay? It ain't happened yet. One or two things happen. You become disillusioned with the promise. Okay? Or you decide that it has not happened on your time frame, and somewhere along the way you tried to make it happen. Anybody been there? Well, you know, I got a word. Didn't seem to come out like I wanted to, so I figured God needs some help. So I jumped in to help him out, and then I ended up worse than I should have just waited 20 years. Okay, anybody been like that? Can I tell you, anybody ever had a prophecy? You know, somebody gave you a prophecy, and you were like, I'm anticipating. I can't wait. A week goes by, nothing. Oh, okay. Well, I guess maybe it's next week. Next week goes by, still nothing. Okay? A month goes by. A year goes by. 5 years go by. And somewhere at some juncture you go, maybe God's waiting on me to do something about it. And so there you go. Jumping in, helping God out. Okay? How many of you know that he don't need help? Okay, he really don't need it. In fact, most of the time, the things that we're anticipating get delayed because we get involved. And God like, okay, well, I was going to do it today, but go ahead. And someday you'll get to the end of yourself. All right, that's where we're at in the story. Okay, y'all ready? Let's go. Verse 1. Now Sarai, that's going to become Sarah in the future, Abram's wife, had not been able to bear children for him. Isn't that something? 10 years ago, God told him, Abraham, I'm going to give you more children than the stars are in the sky. And here we are 10 years later, nothing. Now you know, can I just get real in your face? You know that when Abraham got that promise, he went to work on it. All right, for some of y'all who are still under 10, y'all didn't get that. Okay, 10 years later, they've been down to the, you know, the places you go to get some help. You know, when it ain't working out. They've been there 5 times. Insurance already told them we ain't paying no more. Y'all been good? All right. I just was trying to make it real, but y'all wanted churchy. All right. But she had an Egyptian servant named Hagar. There's always a Hagar. Okay? Hagar is a representation of the way you want it to be. Okay? Hagar, did you know that God always, listen, you think it's the devil, but God always allows for a Hagar. Okay? He always allows for a Hagar. Because he knows he's not going to be able to do what he needs to do until you get done doing what you think you need to do and then get out of the way. Yeah. Okay? See, you thought that what you were going through was the enemy involved, but y'all didn't read the scripture said all things are working. Yes. Okay? And whatever the devil means for, God does. So every time it looks bad, it's not the devil. See, all right, I'm in the wrong church. You know, I can't get no participation because I'm blaming the devil for all y'all's mess. You know, God allows things to happen in your life to expose some things so you can handle some things so that He can give you a promise. Yeah. You do know as long as you messed up, God can't give you all He wants you to have. Yep. Okay. That's for some of y'all. Some of y'all are already holy and don't need no more. All right, verse 2. So Sarah said to Adam, the Lord has prevented me from having children. Okay? The Lord has stopped me from having, in other words, she's telling Abram, guess what? You remember that promise you told me that God gave you? Something's going on, and I guess God changed His mind. But since God changed His mind, I got something on my mind. Okay? I'm going to help God out a little bit because it looks like He either went to sleep, went on a vacation, changed His mind, because it's not working out for us. All right? The Lord has prevented me from having children. Go and sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her. And Abram agreed with Sarai's proposal. I'm sure he did. Now you see, y'all laughing because y'all know Hagar was good looking. You know what I'm saying? I mean, here you, Abram, you're the father of faith. You know, you are the foundation of what's about to come. and your wife can't have any children. She's about 85 as well. You know, and you know Hagar is good looking. She's young, got that nice skin. Yeah. All right. See, y'all look at Abraham as being a bad dude. I'm looking at Abraham as being just a human dude.
Yeah.
And his wife is telling him, "Go for it, baby." See, if you don't get this part of the message, you're really not going to get it at all. Okay? You know, all right, let's keep going. All right. And Abram agreed with Sarai's proposal. What a dude, man. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian servant, just in case Abram didn't get the idea. She went and got her and took her and gave her to Abram. This happened 10 years after Abram had settled in the land of Canaan. So Abram had sexual relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. But when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress Sarai with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, "This little hussy..." No, I'm just kidding. All right. See, I don't know. Well, either we're going to get a lot of Facebook viewers after this, or they'll turn us all off. I don't know. This is all. She said to Abraham, check this out. She told Abraham to go for it. And when it didn't turn out the way she wanted to turn out, look who she blames. This is all your fault. I'm sure Abraham was like, say what? Say, okay. I put my servant in your arms, but now she's pregnant, treats me with contempt. The Lord will show who's wrong, you or me. Ooh. Now, you got to listen to that. The Lord will show who's wrong, you or me. You're going to find out in this story that the Lord doesn't correct either one of them. Okay? All right. Abram replied, "Look, she's your servant. You told me to. You told her to. I'm ad-libbing. You told her to. We did. So, it's your problem, not my problem." Okay? All right. Verse 7. Okay? Then say, look, verse 6. All right, look, she's your servant, so deal with her as you see fit. I already did what I had to do, now you work it out. Then Sarai treated Hagar so harshly that she finally ran away. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a spring of water in the wilderness along the road to Shur. The angel said to her, "Hagar, Sarah's servant, where have you come from and where are you going?" You see, sometimes when you make decisions out of frustration, you know where you're going, but you know where you come from, but you really don't know where you're going because you lose sight because of frustration. Frustration causes you to lose sight of your destiny. And in reality, even your frustration is all working to your good because it's all still... Anybody frustrated? Let me just tell you, don't get so caught up with it. It's working to your good. Just even if you get involved, God, can I tell you that God's grace and mercy is so plentiful and so bountiful and so wonderful that even when you mess it up, He'll still work it out. All right, see, some of y'all need Him to step in and work out some of your stuff. And until He's been there, you can't say amen. Verse 9. I got quiet now, didn't it? The angel, I'll come to your front door and ring the doorbell 15 times to get your attention. The angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to your mistress." Say, "What? I just left that place because they treated me so bad, and you want me to go back? You want me to go back?" He says, "Go back and submit to her authority." Then he added, "I will give you more descendants than you can count." Hang on just a second. Isn't that Abraham's promise?
Yep.
Wait a minute. Wait just a second. Isn't that what you told Abraham? So, wait a minute. So what you're telling me is that the reason I don't know where I'm going is because I left where I was with the wrong intention. See, when you leave where you are with the wrong intention, God will always send you back in the middle of your frustration in order to retrieve your promise. Are you hearing me? You never understand your promise until frustration becomes so heightened that you have to go back. I know where I'm going. Where am I going? I'm running away. Running away is not going to get you destiny. Going back is... All right. Come on. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Frustration takes on many faces and many forms. You see, Sarai is a very powerful woman. Abraham is a very powerful man. He has a lot of cattle. He has a lot of riches. You don't really think that when God put him in Canaan and blessed him, because y'all need to go read the story. You know, God came to Abraham and told him, get out from among, this is another sermon, I won't preach this one, but get out from among the folks that know you, because you can't progress with people that know you. Sometimes you got to go to people that don't know you so that they can appreciate the blessing I'm going to put on you. Because in Jesus, as long as you stay in Joseph's house, you're still just going to be a carpenter's boy. So I got to send you to folks that don't like you so that you... they don't like me at work. That's why you over there. You got to be with folks that don't like you so God can develop His destiny inside of you. Because if you hang out in places where people know you and like you, they're never going to believe that you have become something other than what they thought you would be.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. So the servant of God, Hagar, check this out. Here the rich woman is coming to her and said, I got a plan for you. You know that she was not willing to do that originally, but she didn't have a choice. See, sometimes in your frustrations, you involve people that feel like they don't have a choice. You ever felt like that things were going in such a way that you couldn't choose, or you didn't have a choice? You know, things seem to be going in a way that I can't control them. I don't have any choice with it. I've come to tell you today that even in the middle of your frustration, you do have a choice. Okay, now hold on. I'm not beating you up. Wait till I get there and you'll find out. Anything God plans, works with, creates, is a mess. Oh, I thought God was a God of order. Really? You need to go back to the Garden of Eden. God created man. What happened? There's a mess. Can I tell you something? When I first got married, the indication that dinner was going to be good was the mess on the counter. You ever been over to Big Mama's house? If flour is all over the place, that chicken gonna be real good. If there ain't no flour and there ain't no nothing, there ain't no smell of grease, you ain't eating. There is a mess anytime there is a preparation. See, when God prepares you for something, can I explain to you, a mess is going to show up. Anybody ever thought your life was just perfect? God got involved and all hell broke loose. You know when you got saved? Lord, I need to get away from this. I need to change my life. And you run down to the front and got saved, and the next day was worse than the day before you got saved. And you know, I don't know what's going on. I do. Every time God gets involved in something, He shakes it all up. And what looks like a mess to us is really order to Him. You do know you don't have any order until God shakes up your disorder. See, you think you're in order and you are out of order. And so when God starts to mess it up, you think there's a problem. No, there's not a problem. What He's doing is shaking up what you thought was okay. Are you hearing me? Yeah. See, every time God gets involved, there is a mess. Read the Bible. Abraham, your promise is more than the stars. Here come a mess now. Get ready for it. Peter, On this rock I'm going to build my church. There's a mess coming. Why? Because I have to create some order in disorder, but my ways are not your ways. So what you call disorder, I call order.
Yes.
All right. I'll get you here in a minute, okay? Whenever God creates something, He's always going to make a big mess. Don't be discouraged if your life is a little mess. If you're going through a mess, that means God is working something out. See, y'all ought to be shouting me down, but y'all sitting there just like, see, you know what it is? Y'all like, man, I'm not anticipating that mess. You know? Thank you. Now, see, I took my jacket. I'm really going to preach now. Okay, y'all want to encourage me? I'll just encourage myself. Okay. See, if you can develop patience to see past the mess, you'll get the message. But see, a lack of patience in the middle of a mess delays the message that you're supposed to receive. See, when God gives you a message of something to happen, you get involved in it, there's going to be a mess, but as long as you lose your patience in the mess, you're going to delay the message. So you can't have a message without a mess. You can't have a testimony you can't have a testimony without a test. See, y'all wanting a testimony, but you don't want to go through nothing. You can't witness if you ain't been there. See, y'all want to come to church and hallelujah. No. It don't work that way. You got to go through in order to be able to have a message about something, and a message has to come from a mess, and a testimony has got to come from a test.
Amen.
Are you hearing me? So if you're going through a mess, be careful and just wait, because there's a message coming in your mess. See, we're looking at Abraham and Sarah, and it's a mess. You can tell this is a real mess. Okay? You got Sarai bringing Hagar to Abraham because she's frustrated because for the last 10 years they've not been able to have any children. So out of her frustration, if God gives you a word, it might take 50 years. But God's not going to let that word come to you until all in the middle is cleared out. All your frustration, all your plans. So you thought God would just break in. He lets you go through. Are you hearing me? Oh, this don't motivate, does it? But can I tell you, it's motivational, because if you're going through some stuff, God's working something out. Okay? If your life is all in peace, you are in a real mess. Are you hearing me? If there's some disorder that seems to be disorder to you, in reality, God's trying to create some order in what you think is disorder. And if you don't get frustrated and get ahead of Him, He'll work it out. But if you get ahead, He'll still work it out. But He's got to let your frustrations get out.
Come on now.
All right. So here we have Sarai taking Hagar to Abraham. Now, you know, Abraham is like, he's like to God. God, you remember Eve? Just saying. Is this a trick? I'm not real sure. How am I supposed to take this? So Sarai brings Hagar. Now, I'm just trying to tell you, you know Abraham was a wealthy dude. And do you really think that the wife of a wealthy dude had an ugly maid in the house? They looked and they found the finest. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
The finest they can find. You know. Now, you know when Sarah picked Hagar, God was involved. He went, no, don't get the ugly one. No, the one that walked kind of funny, don't get her. I love her, she's mine, but no, that's not the one you want. Okay, I'm already thinking ahead. So, if you get that ugly one, Abraham won't. Okay, so
Come on, Pastor.
See how easy can I tell you? Ain't nobody messing around with ugly. Y'all, I don't know what happened. I thought I was cute. She's so cute. Do you really think that ugly was coming? I'm just saying. All right. So we got Sarah's frustration because she can't do for Abraham what Abraham said that God was going to do. So she really wanted the promise for Abraham to come to pass. But it wasn't happening, so she thought, you know what? Let me get my own plan going here. And so here's Hagar. And if you can have a child with her, then we can have a family. Abram is kind of frustrated himself. You know how frustrated you are when you're expecting something from somebody and they can't get what you expect to have done. Sometimes your expectation is too high for some people, and you're expecting certain things. They can't get that what you're looking. They try to get it done the way you want, but it just ain't working out that way. You frustrated, they frustrated. Okay? I'm just trying to get you to understand what's going on. Okay? See, we can't don't point a finger at Abram. Don't point a finger at Sarai. They both are frustrated. And so Hagar comes along, and she's the solution for frustration. Okay? Now, here's what's really amazing. After she agrees to do all this, I have a feeling that Hagar wasn't just nasty to Sarai because I got a feeling that maybe Sarai was nasty first. Mm-hmm. See, we don't always get that. Okay? But let me ask you a question. Do you really think that Hagar, being a servant, was really going to risk being thrown out by being nasty? Now, maybe she thought, hey, you know what? Because you know how women are.
Stop, no.
Just had to say that. Some women, let me my wife been looking funny. I was trying to look at this one. I gotta go home. I gotta eat. You know how it is. When one's got something up, they kind of look at the other one like, check out my shoes. Y'all know how it is. Y'all don't act so innocent. Now maybe Hagar had that little bit of an attitude. Check me out. And maybe the little I'm carrying rubbed Sarah the wrong way. And maybe she said, well, the only reason you are is because. And then maybe Hagar said, well, I wouldn't have had to if you could. Okay? So we got some frustration brewing here. Mm-hmm. Oh, everybody frustrated. Everybody's messed up. Over what? Abraham, look at the stars. This is my promise to you. Now, I'm showing you the promise, and I know there's a mess coming. But there has to be a mess for you to get the message. So you mean God had it all worked out? If He knows, see, y'all get way too religious. If God knows the end from the beginning, then He knows all in the middle. Yeah. So when He made Abraham a promise, He already knew about Hagar. Yes. You hear what I'm saying? Well, you would have thought God being holy would have stopped that. Really, He wasn't after Hagar, He was after Abraham. And I gotta go. So you'll see this in just a second. You think that God was after Hagar? Isn't it amazing that now this, they say the angel of the Lord, but in reality what this is the Lord himself, because he says, I made a promise. And the Bible says an angel of the Lord, but this is God himself talking, because he said I. So it had to be God, because he would have said, God said, but he says I said. So God doesn't come to Abraham and to Sarai and jump on them, but he comes to Hagar, because Hagar is the mess. Are you hearing me?
Yep.
And it's in the mess that the message has to come. So he knows he can't go to Abraham, because Abraham got an excuse. Well, Lord, 10 years ago. And he can't go to Sarah, because Sarah will be like, I'm barren. Y'all know the story. That was always her excuse. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't go to either one of them, because the father of the faith, he ain't got no faith. But he doesn't go to Abraham, because Abraham, he's going to have, Lord, it wasn't me really. You heard this story before, right? Remember Adam? It's the woman you gave me. It ain't really my fault. In fact, it's probably yours. It ain't mine. So God already knows he can't go to Abram and talk to him. He already knows he can't go to... There's so much frustration that he has to go to the mess to bring a message. See, sometimes when you get so frustrated, it's the very mess that God deals with rather than you to get the message to you. Because you ain't listening no way. You're so frustrated that if God himself showed up, you wouldn't get it. Well, you didn't show up. I tried to make it work. It didn't work out. I guess it ain't you. See, can I just tell you, we put God like up in the Nubia somewhere and think he's like hanging out with holy, holy, holy. In reality, he's right here with you. Oh, Lord. Hold on. Come on. Can I tell you, that's the magnitude of grace. That in the middle of all your shenanigans, he already knew. The God that we serve would be like this. Oh, there's a mess coming. Let me get out of the way. Yon. Because you know me, I can't be around none of that stuff. Where did we get that story? Where did we get that story? Well, I know God's holy. I know that he can't be around or be involved in sin. I know that. But he doesn't leave you in the middle of your frustrated life. In the middle of your bad decisions, because you're frustrated. He doesn't leave. You think he's gone because you shut him out, because you're like, well, God really can't walk with this. No, he does. All right. Let's go on. Okay, so here we see Abraham and Sarah. They trying to help out God. Now, can I tell you, back in the day, it was not uncommon for this to take place. It was not uncommon for the wife to give a female servant to the husband if she couldn't have any children. But can I tell you, what's not uncommon is not right. Just because it's a common happening doesn't make it a right happening. See, we got a lot of common things that we do in church, but it don't make it right. Okay? Now, I'm talking about there are some things that we do that have religious attached to them, and they're not right. Because we attach things that exclude people because they can't measure up. Okay? There's some common practices that we have that are just not right. How many of you know that just because it's common culturally does not make it correct? Okay? Now, can I tell you something? Let me give you a little story. Anybody ever seen a panda bear baby? They look like a cross between a rat and a pig. But isn't it amazing how cute they grow up to be? Well, see, to me, that's an indication that you might look like a cross between a rat and a pig. But did you know you're probably in the middle of birthing? Look at somebody next to you and say, I might look like a cross between something and something. But by the time I leave here, I won't even look like this. And by the time, don't get used to me looking like this, because I'm not going to look like this all my life. I'm going through a real frustrating situation right now, but let me tell you, I'm not going to look this way next week. I won't look this way tomorrow. So don't get used to me looking like this. Don't get used to me looking like I'm all messed up, because I'm going to get it together. And next week I won't look like this. You might not recognize me. Okay? Because I'm not going to be this frustrated. Abram heard about the destiny and they're trying to help it out. Let me tell you this. Frustration, when you need something from someone who won't give it, creates a level of discomfort for everybody. Now, we like to say that it's in the middle of all this that the devil works. But I got a clue for you. It's in the middle of all this that God works. Now, how do I know that? Because the Bible says that He is under my foot. So if He's under my foot, how did He get up here in my life? See, I don't care whether you understand He's under your foot or not. He is. Your understanding has nothing to do with His position. Because you didn't have anything to do with taking the keys. And so if He's am I making sense?
Yeah.
So you think somehow He got... See, under your foot is not up to you, it's up to Him.
Yep.
And as soon as you got saved and gave your life to Christ, the devil went under your foot. And you can take, listen to me, you can take your foot up 900 times. Look on the bottom. His imprint is still right there.
Yep.
Because you moved your foot, he did not get up. So it's about time that we understand that the devil's really not at work in all the stuff in your life. Maybe it's God, and you just don't want to submit. See, it's easy to blame the devil because I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to submit to nothing. Y'all know the devil messing with me. No, really? You just don't want to submit. I don't know if I'm in the right place. But I'm trying to free you up. Stop blaming the devil for all the stuff in your life, because everything in your life is working for your good. Do you really think that the devil's working for your good?
Nope.
Then how's it working for your good? Oh, see, that's a great scripture for us to quote. It's all working for my good. Yeah, when it's working good. Hallelujah. It's working. But when it ain't working good, what are you doing now? Oh, it must be the devil, you know. No. It's still working for your good. So frustration, listen to me, is a good thing. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
I just am stopping at the end of the road. Good, you're supposed to get to the end of the road. Boy, y'all quiet, man. See, y'all looking for rapture and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You better get off that rapture train, because you're going to have a heck of a time on this earth waiting for rapture to come. Let me talk to you just for a second about controlling choice. When a situation is outside of your control, we think that we have no choice. But can I tell you, you always have a choice. Look at these verses. Verse 7, the angel of the Lord found Hagar beside the spring of water in the wilderness along the road. The angel said, Hagar, where are you going? Well, I'm leaving. I ain't got no choice. I'm going. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. It's all bad back there, man. I can't stay. I don't have a choice. Things are beyond my control. Isn't it amazing? When it's beyond your control, God sends you back to where you lost control. Why? Because you do have a choice. See, you get to choose how you react to things. You get to choose. Now check it out. If you don't believe it, look right there. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her authority. You have a choice. You can choose how to react. So don't tell me, Hagar, that everything is out of your control. Because it's not out of your control. You have the ability to choose what it is you're going to do. You chose to leave. The situation didn't make you leave. You chose to leave. So you can choose to go back. Okay? Now, if you choose to go back, check this out. I will give you more descendants than you can count. See, some people deal with frustration in different ways. A lot of us, you have folks like Sarah. I call her the forcer. If it ain't working out, baby, she forces it. You know, we got some of them folks. I don't think it's working out. Let me go over here and make it happen. You know, that's still okay with God. He's like, go ahead. Because I know that you got to get out of the way. I know you got to work this out. I know you think you got it. You know, sometimes I read the Bible and I'm thinking God is sitting off in the easy chair somewhere going, if you only knew what I knew. Go ahead. You know how sometimes as parents you go, hey, you know what? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I done told you and told you and told you. It's still going to work out the way I told you, but go ahead. And sometimes you sit back and you kind of sneak at it because you know they're coming back. I got no gas. Oh,
right.
You thought that car belonged to you, didn't you? If it does, put some gas in it. Oh. I was going to, but it's 2 blocks from the gas station. Oh, so I knew this was going to happen to you. Sometimes I think that's how God does us. Yeah. It's like, oh, you go ahead. You do know He's the big daddy. Okay? I'm just telling you, see, we put God in this extreme serious sphere. You read the Bible, it's really comedy capers. And God still finds a way to work it out. Think about it. If you read the stories, most of the stories that God starts out with never end up, or never get in the middle, ain't never like you thought it was going to be. Well, Peter, I know, baby, you pulled out that switchblade and cut that guy's ear off. But guess what? Between now and a few more days, it's going to get real rocky. I knew it, I know it, and I'm praying for you. Go ahead on now. Because out of your mess is coming a message. I know you're frustrated right now. But it's okay that you're frustrated. Because you're never going to get the message until you get your frustration out. So I'm okay with you getting your frustration out. Because guess what? Lucky for you, I can just put it back. So here you go. Let me show you. You all mad that it ain't working out, but let me get the ear. Roll the dirt off. Stick it back on there. You needed to get frustrated, Peter, because it's your frustration that's going to get you through the upcoming mess. And then it's the fact that you were frustrated and tried to do it your way that's going to, when you get through it on the other side, you're going to have a different perspective of what was going on. And because of that perspective, now you're going to be able to move to destiny. But I can't get involved in the middle of it. Because you got to get a different perspective, and you got to get frustrated and go through a mess and get on the other side to be able to look back and get the right perspective from it. See, you go through stuff So that when you get through it, you can look back at it and get the right perspective of why it happened. So it's still, y'all quiet. So it's still working to your good, even though you don't think so.
Amen.
So we have the forcer. You know, the one who, I'll make a solution regardless of what anything else goes on. You know, I can tell you, I'm talking to somebody here right now. Some of y'all some forcers. You're looking at one. Yeah, y'all been around me long enough to know, baby, if it ain't happening. And guess what comes on the other side of it? Frustration. Oh my God. Here he comes to my office. Oh my God. And God's like, it's okay. I want you frustrated. Because guess what? If you don't get frustrated, you're never really going to learn how to deal with those folks.
Yeah.
Because guess what? At the end of your frustration, you still got to go do it.
Yeah.
So how long do you want to be frustrated? Mr. Forcer? See, y'all laughing. I'm trying to teach you something I'm trying to walk through. Okay? See, it ain't good to want to preach, man. Let me tell you, don't want to, because you got to walk stuff out before you can talk about it. Let me give you a little nugget here. The only thing harder than waiting on God, write this down. The only thing harder than waiting, this is really good, this is going to get you. The only thing harder than waiting on God is wishing you had. The only thing harder than waiting on God is wishing you had waited.
Yep.
The waiting's not hard. The hard is, I wish I would have. But even in the wish I wish I would have is a lesson. So guess what? You know, the Bible, what's the Bible say? They're moving from glory to glory to glory to glory. How are we getting there? Because we don't listen all the time and we wish we had. So the next time we go, man, I didn't listen last time, so I'm going to listen this time. So here's a hop up from where you were. Next time something comes, you're going to rush on down the road again. And in perspective, you go, man, I wish I'd have waited. So the next time, you'll wait. Here's another hop up. Okay? So you think at some juncture you're going to get to the top. No, you're not. You're never going to get to the top till you get the glory. Okay? Now, this is really... I got to finish this. I got a long way to go. Let me end with this here. Then there's that blinding blamer. You know the blinding blamer? The one who's not at fault at all. Amy, Hagar is the blinding blamer. Everybody, you got Sarai, she's the forcer. I'll make it happen. And of course, you know, you got the complacent go along with guy that's Abraham, the father of the faith. What a mess. What a mess. I'm telling you, look at the folks in the Bible, I'm like, man, there's hope for me. If Abraham was the father of the faith, maybe there is some hope for me. Look at him. I mean, oh man. See, y'all like, oh, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You need to study all of them. They were all messed. Okay? They were all a mess. But you have the forcer, you have the complacent person. Have you ever noticed in frustration, there's always a person who forces something, then there's a person who just is in the middle and they're like, okay, let's go. You know? And then there's the person that blames everybody else. Well, you know what? I wouldn't be in jail if I hadn't went with y'all. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. You was the first one in the car when we said go. Oh, but now it's everybody else's fault. Did you know, in the middle of frustration, there's always somebody that blames everybody else. But listen to me. See, God never deals with the person who's the forcer, and He doesn't deal with the person who is complacent, but He deals with the person who is the blinding blamer. Because guess what? It's the person who finds the most fault that has the most fault. And so God wants to deal with the one that has the most fault. And the biggest one is this. Look, Hagar, what she did is she left to go somewhere, didn't know where she was going, but knew where she came from. And God dealt with her and said, hold on just a second. Because of your frustration, if you don't go back to where you need to go back to, you're going to miss your destiny. And guess what? Your destiny is the same as Abraham's. You got used. But it's okay. You did something that everybody else would think was terrible. You're pregnant with some other body's baby that's married to somebody else. But what I come to tell you is this. That ain't got nothing to do with how I'm going to do. Because I do good at doing things with no bodies. In fact, if you can go into the future and check me out, everything I do is with no bodies. Everything. In fact, I'm going to send my son who will be a nobody. I deal with rejected individuals. Now, I'm not saying you should go do what she did, but I am saying this, that in the middle of your frustration, believing that you have done everything that you should not do, you need to understand that at the end of your frustration, if you will be patient in what God's working with you, He will show you your destiny, and it's much greater than you ever thought it could ever be. When you were frustrated over here trying to be something that you should not have been, had you been patient. But see, God knows you're not going to be patient. He knows you're frustrated. He knows you're pushed. He knows you're going to do these things. But the amazing thing is, look at this. The angel of the Lord comes to Hagar and says, Hagar, I know it looks real bad, but you need to go back to where you left, because you really left your destiny. You don't even, I'm asking, where you don't even know where you're going. Let's finish this thing. And the angel said, you are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael, which means God hears. For the Lord has heard your cry of distress. This son of yours will be a wild man, untamed as a wild donkey. Now, I'm not going to really get into all this stuff, but I want to say this to you, that God had a plan in Hagar and Ishmael. God had a plan. Now, it's kind of amazing because, let me just take a second and tell you, Ishmael is at the foundation of the Muslim faith. Ishmael was, see, the problem with the Muslim faith in Christianity is the Muslims believe that Ishmael is the one who should have had the birthright and the right to the Temple Mount because he was the firstborn. But Ishmael was born out of frustration. See, what you do in frustration is never going to get you what God really had for you. She had to go back in order to receive her destiny. Now, we might look at that as being real difficult. You know, Ishmael, and you got Joseph, and you got all this stuff over here, and this is kind of a mess. No, can I tell you, it looks like a mess to you, but thousands of years ago, God was working out thousands of years from now. Hagar might not look good right now, but can I tell you, you are in my plan thousands of years from now. Thousands of years from now. I will vindicate your frustration thousands of years from now by causing the very thing that I promised you to be involved in what I'm going to cause to happen. Are you hearing me?
Yep.
So had Hagar kept running. See, this is what I want you to understand. That when God has a plan for you, you can run all you want. Because you and your choice is not determining God's choice.
That's right. Amen.
You have absolutely nothing to say about what God wants to do. The only thing you can say is you're going to accept it or not accept it. Outside of that, you got no choice. Your life has already See, I don't tell you that because y'all really get messed up. Let's finish this. Then there's that redeeming regret. That's when you did all the wrong stuff and you regret doing what you did and you think it's all over and God still redeems you for it. 13 years from now, Abraham is now 86 years old. In 13 years from now, Sarah will have the promise. So, when God gives you a promise, can I tell you something? It really doesn't make any difference what goes in between it. He's still going to do it. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say to you is this. That I don't know where you've been, what you're going through, what you thought. I don't care that you think that God left you, God abandoned you. He's never going to do what He told you He's going to do. Can I tell you that God's going to work it out? If He told you, He's going to do it. I don't care what you have done, what you did, your thought pattern. Do you understand me? There is redeeming, there is redemption for those who have had regrets in their life. If you don't believe it, look right here. Now you tell me, is there any more dysfunctional family than that? You and I would have said, Abraham, you out. Sarah, you out too. And Hagar, I don't know about you. We'll have to deal with you for a while. And God's like, it's this dysfunction that I function in. You do know that God does not function very well when your life is all in order and nice. He works in dysfunction. Because you know what? You are dysfunctional. Oh, I got it all together. No, you don't. You're dysfunctional. Well, I think I got it worked out. No, you don't. When you think you got it worked out, that's the biggest dysfunction. Your biggest dysfunction is when it's all working what you think. No, that's dysfunction because it's about to be a mess. So, as we're leaving today, I want you to wrap your mind around the fact that if you're going through frustration, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Because you have to go through frustration to find God's destiny in your life. You know why? Because God is never going to show up when you want Him to show up. And that is always frustrating. You know, it's frustrating for me sometimes. When God says He's going to do something, I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. Sometimes I think He waits so I'll get frustrated. Because it's in my frustration that He shows me my purpose. But I have to learn to be patient in my frustration so that He can work it out. Sit at your feet. Father, we thank You for this humorous example of some of the most frustrating moments in some of the lives of the greatest individuals in the Bible. Let us glean from what we hear the understanding that You deal pretty well with our frustrations. Sometimes we try to shut them out rather than let them work their way out, because it's at the end of that frustration that we find our destiny and our purpose. And we have to go through frustration in order to get perspective on particular situations so we can grow from them. So today I pray for people who are frustrated, that they think that there is no choice. Things are just churning along and there's nothing they can do about it. But you always have a choice. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what the situation, you always have a choice. You can choose to go back. You can choose to go back. And you can choose to deal with it. That's your choice. How you deal with your situation is your choice. So I say choose. Choose to go back. Don't run away. Don't run off. Don't think you can escape it. Just go back. Because in going back and choosing to submit yourself to what God wants, you find your destiny, and you find that it's greater than you could have ever in your life imagined. Hagar is a servant, but her future is that of a queen and a mother of nations. Out of a disobedient, seemed like disliked servant, God had a nation in mind. But she had to go back. She had to choose to go back and deal with it and submit herself to it in order for destiny to be activated in her life. So no matter where you are, in the middle of your frustration, go back. Don't run from it. Don't try to hide from it. Don't think that you're running toward God, because most of the time in frustration you're running away from Him. And He loves you no matter how frustrated you are. Isn't that amazing? The amazing grace is it doesn't make any difference. You're at the end of your road. You're so frustrated you can't sit still. And God's like, it's okay. Don't be giving the devil credit for your frustration. I'm working it. I'm allowing your frustration. Sometimes I just want you to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's the magnitude of grace and mercy and love, that even in the middle of frustration, God's working it out. Everybody okay? Join hands with somebody next to you. You don't know who you're touching. You may be touching somebody who's frustrated. Would you just pray for that person? In your own way, join hands and just say a prayer for that person. Shoot, you might be the frustrated one. And the person next to you is praying for you. That you'll find your way through this thing. That you'll submit to whatever it is that the reason you're frustrated for. Hagar was frustrated, not knowing that she was right in the middle of what God wanted. Sometimes your biggest frustration is being right where God wants you to be. Because you can't see Him working in your frustration. Because you think He's all about just peace and quiet. But He's in the middle of frustration and noise and difficulty. Can you imagine if God only operated in the peace of your life? You don't really need Him when you're at peace. You need Him when you're in turmoil. So God operates in turmoil. Stop trying to shut Him out of turmoil. That's where He does good. Stop trying to act like there is no turmoil, because that's where He does good. Stop trying to wait for peace to come on you thinking that's God. Can I tell you, God doesn't come on you in the middle of peace. He comes on you in the middle of hell. And He brings peace. But usually that peace is short-lived, because we go from frustration to frustration to frustration to frustration. Isn't it amazing? He still works it all out. He still loves us. And we some messed up kids. I know you was going to run out of gas. I told you to sit down, but you didn't want to. I know you're frustrated, but that's okay. I still love you. I'm going to encourage you. And I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm going to put you where you're supposed to be. Just hold that hand just for a minute. And think about that person next to you. They're going through something that they think that this is the end. That life is just, there seems to be no answer now. You may be sharing something not knowing you're sharing that calms the storm in that person's life. Father, thank you. Thank you that in the middle of the storm you walk on the water. When it looks like we're going to drown, you're always there. You're always there. Thank you. High five somebody.